Okay, here I have the Enchiridion one last time, and I'm going to try to wrap up here. I wanted to talk, I guess, a little bit about number 30, and we'll see if I can go back to 30 if there's time, but I am just going to read number 51, which is, I guess, very near the end. And just to remind everybody, I am going to go on to Morris Berman's very wonderful book called Coming to Our Senses and look at the chapter there called The Basic Fault, and we'll look at that for a little while in January here. Okay, so here is again the entry that we find for number 51. How long will you wait to think yourself worthy of the highest and transgress in nothing the clear pronouncement of reason? Have you received the precepts which you ought to accept? Have you accepted them? Why then do you still wait for a master, that you may delay the amendment of yourself till he comes? You are a youth no longer. You are now a full-grown man. If now you are careless and indolent and are always putting off, fixing one day after another as the limit when you mean to begin attending to yourself, then, living or dying, you will make no progress, but will continue unawares in ignorance. Therefore make up your mind before it is too late to live as one who is mature and proficient, and let all that seems best to you be a law that you cannot transgress. And if you encounter anything troublesome or pleasant or glorious or inglorious, remember that the hour of struggle is come, the Olympic contest is here, and you may put off no longer, and that one day and one action determines whether the progress you have achieved is lost or maintained. This is how Socrates attained perfection, paying heed to nothing but reason in all that he encountered. And if you are not yet Socrates, yet ought you live as one who would wish to be a Socrates? Okay, there it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful passage, right? He's reminding us, I think so clearly, how each moment there is this continuous bringing oneself into an alignment or into an attunement with what has already happened. And I think the notion here is not to cling to expectations, to thought about things, but to see everyday life's acts of acceptance and still striving to be the truly heroic Olympic activity. See, I think we think of the athletic, it's like the athletic games are something that have to happen on TV in front of people and in front of an audience, whereas I think for Epictetus, it really is about learning to inwardly, without anyone else's help, come to accept whatever has happened as somehow fated by the gods and part of divine providence, and yet to strive to achieve the best that one can in, I think, living a noble life, a life that is lived according to reason. Right? To say that it's lived according to reason is to say that one looks around and brings oneself into accord with nature and with what has already happened. I think this is to go back to number 30 here. He says, appropriate acts are in general measured by the relations they are concerned with. He is your father. This means that you are called on to take care of him, give way to him in all things, bear with him if he reviles or strikes you. But he is a bad father. Well, have you any natural claim to a good father? No, only to a father. My brother wrongs me. Be careful then to maintain the relation you hold with him, and do not consider what he does, but what you must do if your purpose is to keep in accord with nature. No one shall harm you without your consent. You will only be harmed when you think you are harmed. You will only discover that it is proper to expect from neighbor, citizen, praetor, if you get in the habit of looking at the relations implied by each. So this is so, I think, these two comments I think are so difficult for us in modern Western individualist society, where I think we think of wanting to do our own thing, and we are so much aligned with goods and evils as if they're external to us. Here, I think it is difficult. I think we want to say, no, I want to correct the bad father. I don't have any obligation. I'm going to do my own thing. I think it's sort of how we think about it. I think Epictetus is not advocating, how do I say it? He's not advocating simple acceptance of it. I think he wants people to live in accord. Like, would he want the father to be a good father? Yes. Would he want the brother to be a good brother? Yes. But I think he also realizes that one thing that you can't control is what other people do. The only thing you can do is control your own behavior. That's the only thing that's under your control. And when other people wrong you, the only thing that you can do is to act what you think are the right relations. See, now if we're going to haggle about it, I mean, again, there's lots to haggle about. I prefer to not do that. I mean, if people, let's do that in paper or something. If we're haggle, let's celebrate it. Let's read it to get what could be had there and useful and is relevant. But there's certainly, there's some shortcomings, obviously, right? I mean, I think in today's world, the sort of stoicism, it has to make room for sorts of emotions, and I think we do want to say that there are things that we don't want to tolerate. For example, the Stoics tolerated slavery. I don't think that we want to. Okay, just that is a simple example. I think part of the point is to really see the world in its relations of harmony and balance and proportionality and all the kinds of ratios that make for both auditory beauty and visual beauty, of again balance, proportionality, and to think of oneself in terms of courage, forbearance, prudence, moderation. These these notions of sort of having foresight ahead and having a recognition of one's relations to others and senses of modesty, all of these are things that they're part of what's under our control. And I think for Epictetus, again, it really is a struggle to be gratefully indifferent, to move with goodwill toward what could be called the beautiful harmony of the cosmos. And I think it's very difficult for us, for me, right, I see it in myself, but I think for modern Western individuals who feel so much to be individuals, to not have things their way. I think we're almost like crybabies who want to say, well, I didn't get my things my way, and we're all upset about it. Whereas I think for him, it's you still have to treat people with rightness to the proper relations if someone is a citizen or a neighbor. I think, and again, you want to understand for Epictetus, we're citizens of the world, right? He issued in some ways the first cosmopolitanism, so it is a celebration of our obligation to humanity. Even if that means a lean, austere life that doesn't gobble up all the world's resources, and to see the goods that one has is a sort of orientation of will and mind rather than an accumulation of things that others can see, or I guess I don't know. Those are some of the things. I am gonna, I guess, be wrapping up there with Epictetus. Then that was a fun December. I hope that other people enjoyed Epictetus and shoot some other videos if you want to load that in. Again, I am going to be moving on to Morris Berman. Check out Berman's work. I'll see if I can put a link up to that. And okay, Happy New Year, and hope everyone is doing well. Take care.